Welcome back to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. I am Brett Chapin. That's Daisy Egan. We are joined today by the great Mr. George Wendt, actor. If you have any questions for George, make sure you give us a call at 1-800-336-2225. That's 1-800-336-2225. Thanks for joining us, George.
Oh, thank you.
I would add singer.
Yeah, it's funny. Musical theater has suddenly become my life, and I don't sing or dance, but I will, however, do what I'm told.
Yes, that's all that really matters.
Yes.
Good actors take direction.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you're working on, right now, Reanimator, the musical at the Hayworth.
That's right.
How did you get involved with that production?
Stuart Gordon, the director and writer and producer of the movie, as well as this musical version, he and I are old pals from Chicago days. We've worked together since the late 70s. And also Mark Nutter, who wrote the music and lyrics. Mark and I go back even further to the mid-70s. He was involved over at Second City when I was there. And I've worked with Nutter on several shows, and I've worked with Stewart on, I think, 4 movies. And, it was, I was happy to get the phone call to play Dean Halsey.
It's such a funny show.
Thank you. It's wild.
So it's running now at the Hayworth. When do you guys close?
I believe a week from today.
Oh, goodness. All right. So
No, I mean a week from tomorrow. Yeah.
A week from Sunday.
A week from Sunday, and we head to the New York Musical Festival for a brief engagement there. I think 7 shows.
But that's not till the fall, right?
Oh no, that's it used to be in the fall.
It was last year in the fall.
Yeah, I think it was traditionally in the fall. They've moved to July.
Oh my goodness.
Because wasn't your show at the New York Musical
Yeah,
Theater
it was
Festival?
in October.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they've moved it to July now, and so I think it's early. Well, it ends the 22nd of July, and we start the 17th. So we're in the second week of the festival, and then we go straight on to Edinburgh for July 25th to till September 3rd.
Oh, how awesome.
Wow.
Have you been?
Yes, I've been to the festival a couple of times, and I've been to Edinburgh several other times as well.
Scotland is one of my favorite places.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of traveling as an actor. Do you really enjoy going on tour like that and visiting different areas, that type of thing, or is it?
I do. I've always enjoyed travel, and I traveled quite a bit before I was an actor, and then once I became an actor, I really traveling. There was so much traveling involved with the job that I rarely travel unless I'm working at this point.
Yeah.
Because it's guilt-free travel. You're working, you're doing what you're supposed to do. You're not, goofing off. You're, in theory, making money instead of spending it.
Mm-hmm.
In theory.
Right. When did you
Hopefully.
become an actor?
Right. 73. We'll call it 73.
Sure.
It's when I first started taking classes.
At Second City?
At Second City. Workshops with Josephine Forsberg, the late Josephine Forsberg.
Must have been an incredible education.
Yeah, I did that for about a year, and then in 74, I guess, is when I started my professional career. But I'm going to date it to 73 when I started taking classes. So 74, I got hired by Second City, and I stayed there till 1980.
You did the Chicago company.
Yes.
Were you there?
No, we also went to Toronto on a bit of an exchange. They used to do that.
Yeah.
They might still do that, where the Canadians would come down and Canadian Equity would accept a tit for tat and send the Chicago company up there.
Who was in the company when you were there?
I was there a long time, so there were oodles of people, but amongst them Jim Belushi, Danny Breen, Tim Kazurinsky, Bruce Jarko, Mary Gross,
Wow.
Shelley Long.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's how you originally met Shelley Long, I would imagine, before the show.
Yes.
Awesome.
And was that just a coincidence then? You ended up on the same?
Yes. Yeah. Total coincidence.
And that shot out here, right, in L.A. Cheers.
Cheers did Paramount Stage 25.
How did that come about?
It was just it was pretty boring. Just my agent called and said, "Honey, the Charles brothers are shooting this thing," and I was not available. I was tied up to another series at Paramount at the time called Making the Grade, and she said, "It's a very small role, honey, but you like these guys. Remember, you did Taxi for them, and I'd done an episode of Taxi that Jim Burrows directed and Glenn and Les Charles wrote." And so I said, "Sure, I'll go in." But she said, "It's really small. It's one line, really."
What was it? Hey, guys?
No. And I said, "One line? Wow." And she said, "Well, actually, it's one word." And I said, "Oh, what's the word?" She said, "Beer."
And a career began.
And I thought to myself, I can't believe I'm going to actually play a guy who looks like he wants a beer. That's amazing, because that's a lifetime of preparation for that role.
That's right in your wheelhouse.
And so it seemed like too small of a role to read. It was originally just a tag at the end of the episode. Shelley's character Diane has been hired at this point by Sam. And she says, "Hi, I'm Diane. I'll be your waitress." "Well, I'm not really a waitress. I'm an academic. My fiance left me here," and I'm blah, blah, and she goes on for 2 pages, as she did. And I'm just sitting there, and then she wraps it all up, and she says, "I'm sorry. Well, I'm just telling you all about me. I should really be taking your order. What can I get you?" And I say, "Beer." And she says, "Beer. Perfect." And that was the end of the episode. But then they gave me this other role to read, character by the name of George, and he was the guy who always wanted one more beer and was never going to leave, and so they wound up offering me that one, but it didn't work out because I had this other show, and they were both at Paramount, but CBS didn't want me to do it because it was on NBC, blah, blah, blah. And so then that show got canceled, and then they wound up offering me Cheers. So that was, how bizarre that the luckiest thing that happened was my show got canceled.
You never know where life is going to take you.
Yeah, honestly, those closing of doors, opening of windows, it really is true.
Yeah.
So do you ever, well, I want to get into this question, but we've got 30 seconds left, so I don't know if we have enough time. But tell us about your book real quick. You wrote a book a couple years ago?
Right. It's called Drinking with George. It's a humor book, sort of a half-baked memoir, but not really a proper memoir. It's just drinking stories. Yeah, basically. Yeah.
And you don't list your favorite beer because it's hard to pick, huh?
I think Free and Free Light are my favorites.
Always a good choice. We'll be back on La La Land with Brett and Daisy on CRN Digital Talk.
Awesome.